So Mitch McConnell's scheme yesterday around the filibuster looks to have backfired. We covered it. We covered Mitch McConnell basically threatening scorched earth if, the Democrats touched the filibuster, if the Democrats did anything to the filibuster, when the Republicans got power back, they would pass all these right-wing bills and there would be nothing they could do to stop them, and that this would be horror for the Democrats and horror for the liberals, and they better know what they're doing.
Nobody serving in this chamber can even begin to imagine what a completely scorched earth Senate would look like.
And as I noted, that was desperation from Mitch. That was not Mitch McConnell, from a position of strength, from a position of looking down upon from a mountain. That was Mitch McConnell backed into a corner, like a wounded wolf or something, backed into a corner, snapping out of desperation, because he knows that if the Democrats want to, they can get rid of the filibuster, and there's nothing he can do to stop them. And frankly, the people of the United States likely wouldn't care, because they don't really care about Senate procedure. And that means for the first time in a long time, the actual majority of people that are represented by the Democratic Party, for the most part, they win the popular vote at almost every federal level, Senate, House, and presidency in almost every election, and have for the last 30 years, that they would actually get to implement policy. And Mitch McConnell doesn't want that. So he made that threat, and that led to a lot of backlash against him from regular people. But as I noted last night, Joe Biden came out and said, it's time to reform the filibuster. And so he's not necessarily going as far as Mitch McConnell would fear, which is filibuster abolition, but he is saying it's time to address how broken the Senate is. Because when the Senate is broken, democracy is broken. Because if you can't pass bills except for one or two reconciliation bills, every Senate term, then you're not actually a democracy. It's not actually a body of governing. It's just a glorified debate club. And Mitch McConnell wants to keep it that way because he doesn't really care about improving society. Sure, there are some things he would like to make worse, but ghouls like Mitch McConnell are more or less happy with the status quo. The status quo has been very, very kind, very, very friendly to Mitch and his other rich buddies. So worst case scenario, he thinks, as long as we keep the filibuster, the Democrats can never really do anything to improve society in any sort of significant way that would take money from me and my rich friends. But it's time that he realize that his luck has run out. And that's my hope. When Joe Biden last night said, I'm open to changing the filibuster, and when Joe Manchin said, I'm willing to make the filibuster more painful, and I'm willing to assert that the filibuster needs to have more, responsibility from the minority, which is to say it's not enough for the minority to have one person say, I'm filibustering. They have to muster the bodies and the time and the strenuousness to hold up and do these 24-hour, 48-hour, 72-hour, 96-hour debates on the Senate floor if they want to stop from having an up or down majority wins vote on a rule. Because as I explained it, to pass a law in the Senate, you don't actually need 60 votes. Any vote in the Senate passes as long as one more person votes for it than votes against it. Or if it's tied, Kamala Harris breaks the tie. But you need 60 votes to end debate on any individual bill, unless it's passed through reconciliation, which we see is a big process. So what Manchin and Biden, two, conservative guys, two moderate guys, and two very traditional Senate type guys are saying is, sure, keep your filibuster, but we need to see all the GOP ghouls on the floor actually upholding it. And this is important. I think people are realizing that Mitch McConnell will talk like this and tear down any norm he wants. Mitch McConnell will complain about Senate norms till the cows come home, but he was the one that made it so that a bare majority could put people on the Supreme Court. And he was the one that took Amy Coney Barrett and in like 2 weeks threw her on the Supreme Court, when there was not enough time under Senate tradition, under the long tradition of the Senate, to put her on the court. And he was the one that blocked Merrick Garland from even getting a vote. Didn't even let him have a hearing or a vote in the Senate on what it means for him to be on the court. Would he have been a good judge? Would he have not been a good judge? They didn't even allow a vote. Mitch McConnell has already destroyed Senate norms. So I am, for the first time, hopeful that Republicans and their anti-democratic approach to the Senate might finally get busted. The filibuster isn't going anywhere. It's going to stick around. But if they change it and make it harder to use, it will be used less, which means the Democrats, they can do more.